Boeing's troubled Starliner spaceship has departed the International Space Station to return to Earth without astronauts.
Boeing Starliner spacecraft has successfully landed in the New Mexico desert.
6 hours after the Starliner capsule left the International Space Station.
Touchdown. Starliner is back on Earth.
The Boeing Starliner has returned to Earth without any astronauts on board, landing safely in the New Mexico desert. This return came after the spacecraft experienced technical issues, including helium leaks shortly after launching. NASA decided it was safer to leave the astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams on the International Space Station. What challenges might they face after such a long time in orbit? Join us as we follow their travel back to Earth, which will be an epic battle for survival. NASA reveals Starliner's big win. NASA has recently given some updates about how the Starliner spacecraft is doing, and they're pretty happy with how things went. During its latest mission, Starliner successfully pulled off some key maneuvers while orbiting Earth and coming back down. They used a special docking system, which is actually a tweaked version of the one they plan to use for the Orion spacecraft in the future. This was the second time they used it to detach from the International Space Station, and it worked like a charm. But there's one critical detail NASA hasn't revealed yet. What really caused the unexpected issues with the spacecraft? Stay tuned, as this revelation could change everything we know about future space missions. The spacecraft had to do a special move called the breakout sequence, where it backed away from the space station for the first time. It started by moving back about 16 feet, then it fired up its thrusters about 12 times to make sure it was properly positioned about 13 miles away from the space station for each orbit. The good news is, all of its thrusters worked perfectly, and there weren't any issues. Science editor Rebecca Morale summed up the mission and mentioned that the landing went well, although there were a few hiccups with the thrusters, similar to what happened during takeoff. These problems led to the decision to bring the spacecraft back without any astronauts on board. While this was a bit disappointing, especially since astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams were supposed to come back on this test flight, it was still considered a success. Everyone involved has been working on this for a long time, so they were relieved that it came back safely, even though it didn't carry the crew as planned. Rebecca also touched on a question many people might have. How are Butch and Suni doing up in the International Space Station, since they're now staying much longer than they were supposed to? Originally, they were only supposed to be up there for 8 days, but now they're looking at an 8-month stay because their return has been pushed back to February. According to NASA, they're doing well and keeping a good attitude. All the pictures and updates show that they're managing just fine. When they first packed for the space station, they didn't bring much because they thought it would be a short trip. But now that their stay has turned into a long-term thing, NASA has sent up several supply missions to make sure they have everything they need, like clothing and other essentials. They're also keeping up with daily exercise routines to help prevent issues that come from living in zero gravity, like losing bone density and muscle strength. Plus, they're keeping busy with different science experiments as part of their work on the space station. This extended stay might sound tough, but astronauts are trained for all kinds of situations. Both Butch and Suni have had to adapt to their new reality up there, doing their best to maintain normalcy in an environment that's anything but normal. Their training helps them handle the physical challenges of being in space for so long, but it's their mental strength and ability to keep a positive outlook that really makes the difference. It's impressive how they've settled into life in orbit, turning a situation that could have been very difficult into something productive. They've become integral parts of the ongoing experiments and activities on the space station, contributing to important research that can benefit all of us back on Earth. Their ability to adjust and thrive is a testament to their skills and dedication as astronauts. The situation also shows the resilience and adaptability of the teams working behind the scenes at NASA. From the engineers who design the spacecraft to the support staff who ensure the astronauts have what they need, it takes a huge effort from a lot of people to make missions like this possible. Even when things don't go exactly as planned, like with this test flight not being able to bring Butch and Suni back as scheduled, the team works together to find solutions and keep pushing forward. So while the Starliner's test flight had its share of ups and downs, it's all part of the process of testing and learning. Each mission gives valuable insights that can be used to improve future missions. The experience gained from this mission will help in refining the systems and procedures for future crewed flights, making them safer and more efficient. And for Butch and Sunny, their unexpected extended stay in space is not just a challenge to overcome, but an opportunity to make significant contributions to our understanding of living and working in space. With the Starliner mission over, attention now turns to the astronauts facing new challenges in space. Astronauts' plans suddenly change. At the space station, there's a pretty busy scene right now. Astronauts keep coming and going, which is how it usually goes. Originally, 4 astronauts were supposed to go to the station in September on a SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft. But plans have changed, and now only 2 are going, one from NASA and another from Russia. This was done to free up some seats for Butch and Sunny, 2 astronauts who are finishing their mission in February. A lot of people ask why Butch and Sunny can't come back earlier, especially since there are spacecraft heading to and from the station all the time. The answer is all about the tight schedule of space missions. The space station can only hold so many astronauts, and there always needs to be enough spacecraft ready to bring everyone back quickly if something goes wrong. Dottie Metcalf-Lindenberger, who used to be an astronaut with NASA, shared more about how things work up there. She explained that astronauts don't take all their personal stuff with them into space. A lot of what they need is already there or gets sent up while they're there. The next SpaceX ship will only have 2 astronauts instead of more, which means there's extra room for stuff that Butch and Sunny might need during their stay. In space, you don't need as many personal items as you might think. For instance, you don't get as dirty since there's no typical dirt or dust, but you do sweat. There's also plenty of food available because NASA plans for every crew member by sending enough supplies for each one. Clothes aren't a big worry either. Astronauts often wear clothes that can fit multiple people, so a few sizes can go a long way up there. She also talked about how astronauts handle being in space for a long time. Both Butch and Sunny have been in charge of missions before and have dealt with tough situations on Earth where you don't need much. Dottie thinks they'll do great with the science experiments they have to work on, and they're not too worried about running out of clothes or other gear. Talking about her own time in space, Dottie remembered her days as a shuttle astronaut. She spent only 11 days at the International Space Station, which isn't very long compared to many missions. Her time was a bit longer than planned because of some issues with the shuttle, but the team on the ground fixed everything, and they were able to come back as scheduled. Overall, she was in space for just 15 days, which is nothing compared to the long stretches that astronauts like Butch and Sunny handle. Even in that short time, she felt they had more than enough clothes and stuff. This goes to show that we often overestimate how much we need when we're away from Earth. This situation with Butch and Sunny is a good example of how complicated planning a space mission can be. Every seat on a spacecraft is precious, and changes to the crew must be carefully thought out. The decision to send fewer astronauts this September was strategic, ensuring that Butch and Sunny could return safely after their extended stay. It's a complex dance of logistics, timing, and resource management that makes each mission unique. Space missions like the one Butch and Sunny are on require a lot of preparation and careful planning. From the amount of food sent to the space station to the personal items and equipment each astronaut needs, everything is calculated. The logistical challenges are immense, but they're essential for ensuring the safety and success of the astronauts and their missions. The work Butch and Sunny do in space is not just about living there, but also about making important discoveries for the future. Butch and Sunny's vital work in space. The role of astronauts like Butch and Sunny isn't just about being up there. They perform important scientific work that can help us understand more about space and even our own planet. The experiments they conduct can range from studying how plants grow in microgravity to testing new technologies that could be used on future space missions. Their work is vital, and the sacrifices they make, like being away from home for months, are for the benefit of all of us. Being an astronaut isn't just about being physically fit. It also requires a strong mental game to deal with the loneliness and the special challenges that come with living in space. Up there, you can't just open a window to get some air. Space is a completely different world where even simple things like sleeping and eating are done differently. That's why astronauts like Butch and Sunny go through intense training that gets them ready to face everything from sudden emergencies to the everyday activities on a space station. Butch and Sunny, like all astronauts, learn to manage their day-to-day lives in a place where you float instead of walk, and where the view outside your window is the vastness of space, not a familiar neighborhood. They practice using space tools and doing repairs under conditions that mimic zero gravity. They also train in simulators that throw all sorts of scenarios at them, from fires to power outages, so they know what to do when seconds count. Eating in space isn't like grabbing a snack from the fridge. Instead, astronauts eat specially prepared meals that keep well in microgravity. They train to handle their food so it doesn't float away while they eat. Sleeping is another challenge. They sleep in small, tethered sleeping bags to keep from drifting around. All this preparation is crucial because in space, being ready for anything is part of everyday life. Thinking about the bigger picture, the work of astronauts goes beyond just performing tasks in space. Their efforts help us learn more about the cosmos and lay the groundwork for future space travel. Thanks to the brave work of people like Butch and Sunny, we might one day have humans living on other planets. Every time we send astronauts into space, we learn things that expand our knowledge and improve our ability to explore even farther into the unknown. This ongoing effort to venture into space is about more than just science and exploration. It's about pushing the limits of what humans can do and where we can go. Every mission adds to the knowledge gained from previous ones, and every obstacle overcome pushes us a little further towards a future where humans could live beyond Earth. The role of astronauts in exploring space and facing these incredible challenges is part of a broader quest to understand and maybe one day inhabit other parts of the universe. Each travel they take builds on past missions, contributing to a growing body of knowledge that could eventually enable humans to settle on other planets. Being an astronaut means living and working in conditions that most of us can only imagine. It means being part of a team where everyone's role is critical and where the work done can have impacts far beyond the space station's walls. The challenges they face are vast, but so are the opportunities. To discover new things, to push the boundaries of human presence in space, and to inspire us all to look up and dream about what lies beyond our world. Astronauts like Butch and Sunny are pioneers, charting paths that future generations might follow. Their missions are about exploration and discovery, but they are also about solving problems, from how to live sustainably in space to how to conduct experiments that can't be done anywhere else. Each mission brings us a step closer to understanding our place in the universe. Every big step in space travel has a team behind it. Now it's time to see how SpaceX made it all possible. SpaceX's rise to space power. SpaceX, launched by Elon Musk in 2002, started with a clear goal to change space travel and cut down the costs of sending stuff into space. Musk dreamed about making space reachable for everyone, hoping to someday make it possible for people to live on Mars. Right from the start, SpaceX ran into tough times, especially when trying to make its first rocket, called Falcon 1. They aimed to build rockets that you could use more than once to make space trips cheaper compared to the old way where rockets were used just once. Their first project, Falcon 1, was a small two-stage rocket built to send payloads into the lower part of Earth's orbit. It wasn't easy at first, with 3 launch attempts that didn't work out before finally succeeding in 2008. These early failures almost made SpaceX go broke, but when Falcon 1 finally worked, it helped the company grow bigger. Next up was the Falcon 9, a bigger and stronger rocket with a focus on using parts over and over again. The first time Falcon 9 launched successfully was in 2010. One of its cool features was the Merlin engines, which were cheaper and more reliable than what others were making. This step toward reusing parts helped set up what SpaceX is known for today, being able to use the same rocket multiple times, which cuts down on how much space trips cost. In 2012, SpaceX did something huge when its Dragon spacecraft was the first one built by a private company to connect with the International Space Station, ISS. This big win made SpaceX a key player in space stuff and got them a steady job supplying the ISS with what it needs. Thanks to a deal with NASA, the success of both Dragon and Falcon 9 opened doors to new ideas and projects. A big moment came in 2015 when SpaceX managed to land a Falcon 9 rocket back on Earth after sending it into space. This was the first time anyone had gotten a rocket back like that, a big step for using rockets more than once. By 2017, they'd launched and landed a Falcon 9 that had already flown before, proving their rockets could be used again. Then there's the Falcon Heavy, the most powerful rocket from SpaceX. It first flew in 2018 and even carried Musk's own Tesla car into space as a test load. With 3 boosters that could be used again, Falcon Heavy showed it could carry a lot more than other rockets, keeping SpaceX at the front of the space game. At the same time, SpaceX was working on Starship, a rocket meant to be used again and again for big space trips. Starship is all about Musk's dream to send people to Mars and other places far away. Even though there have been some setbacks and failed tests, by 2024, Starship was making good progress with several tests done and more planned. SpaceX also got into the satellite business with Starlink, which aims to give fast internet all over the world, even where it's hard to get. By the end of 2023, they'd put up thousands of these satellites and were making money from it in over 70 countries. One of SpaceX's main things is trying to make it cheaper and more common to send stuff into space. They broke their own record in 2023 by doing 98 launches, mostly putting more Starlink satellites up there. They also kept sending people to space, working with NASA on trips to the ISS using their Crew Dragon, which in 2020 was the first spaceship built by a company to take astronauts up there. SpaceX doesn't just stop at rockets and satellites. They're also big on building the right places to do their launches. They've got a main spot in Cape Canaveral, Florida, and a big setup in Boca Chica, Texas, where they work on Starship. This Texas place, called Starbase, is central to their big plans for trips to other planets. Looking forward, SpaceX wants to do even more launches and really get into sending folks to space, especially Mars. Musk talks a lot about setting up a place where people can live on Mars, which would need a lot of new tech, systems to keep people alive, and ways to handle living far from Earth. Is Boeing Starliner truly safe for future missions, or are these technical issues a sign of deeper problems? Tell us what you think, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.